During the month of Elul, one tradition says that the king is in the field, which is to say that during this month leading up to the high holidays, this month of focus on reflection, introspection, and maybe the first steps of tshuva, of return to our highest selves, is also the month where the divine presence is closest at all times. The idea of the king being in the field means that back in the medieval era, a king would go out and survey his land to see how the people were doing, to try to feel in touch with the people he was ruling over, perhaps to survey what he should or could be taxing. Whereas most of the time, the king was far, far away in the king's palace that almost no one had access to. And so the metaphor is that just prior to the high holidays, just prior to Rosh Hashanah, the new year, and Yom Kippur, when we do Cheshbon HaNefesh, take a look at our receipt from the past year of our behavior and reflect on it and consider what debts we may have, what things we may have racked up, how we could do better next year. That God is actually doing that with us in the month of Elul. And so today I wanted to focus a little bit on the month of Elul. And for those of you who were here last week, I mentioned that Mincha, which is the afternoon service, is different than the morning service. It doesn't have the Shema and its blessings. It starts with Psukei de Zimra, which are Psalms, or some Psalms, and then goes right into the Amidah. And so what I want to do today is start off with Ashrei, which is kind of the introduction to Psalms. And then I'm going to chant a piece of Psalm 27, which is related to Elul as well. For in Psalm 27 is the word lula. And when it is written in Hebrew, there are little dots over it. And it means, were I not, something to that effect. But it's also Elul backwards. So this psalm has been traditionally recited for meditation during Elul. So I'm going to chant a little piece of that and then explain what it means and lead you through a guided meditation based on that. So before we fully begin, find yourself in a comfortable position. If you'd like to drape yourself in something comforting, a talit, a sweater, it's really hot for either of those today, I get it. But something that might make you feel a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more relaxed, feel free to do that. Don't have to. We're going to start out with some breathing to check in with our bodies, which is always a good idea at this time of day anyway. So deep breath in through your nose. Slowly, slowly filling up your lungs. And then a slow breath out through your mouth. And as you reach almost empty capacity, push a little bit more, clearing your lungs completely. Another deep breath in through your nose, feeling it travel up your nose, through your sinuses, feeling your lungs expand as they fill with air, the breath of life, that gift of ensoulment from God. And then once more out through your mouth, slowly, controlled, not rushing. There's no rushing here. Fully emptying your lungs all the way. One more breath in. Ashrei yoshvei veitecha, od yahalelucha selah. Ashreham shekachalo, Ashreham sharonai Elohim. Happy are those who dwell in God's house. Happy are those for whom Adonai is their God. Achat shalti met Adonai otavakesh. Achat shalti met Adonai otavakesh. Shivti bevet Adonai kol yamei hayai. Lachazot benoam benoam Adonai ulevaker b'heichalo. Lachazot benoam benoam Adonai ulevaker b'heichalo. There's one thing that I ask from Adonai, that I request, that I may sit and dwell in the house of Adonai all the days of my life, and to rest in peace with Adonai, to visit God's palace. Another deep breath in through your nose. Slow breath out. As you sit comfortably but alert, I invite you to imagine sitting at the doorway of your home, perhaps the doorway of the building you live in, being able to see outside. A beautiful day, temperate, able to enjoy nature, the world around you. Maybe you have trees and birds, people walking by. And as you see the people milling about, going about their days, see one person walk by. You cannot see their face as they move by too quickly. You feel compelled to stand up and follow them. They're not moving too quickly. It's not too hard. And they lead you down the street. Beautiful day. It's quiet and peaceful, but people are still about. As you follow this person, you notice you're no longer on your street, but instead approaching a palace. You realize that this person you're feeling compelled to follow is the king in the field. It's an embodiment of the divine, inviting you to visit the palace. How do you imagine God's dwelling place to look? Is it perhaps a palace of stone, wood, golden and beautiful? Perhaps a palace of foliage, trees grown together into a miraculous habitation for the divine. Perhaps only made of light, nothing solid. Or perhaps simply a small shtiebel, a tiny place of prayer. Allow your mind to fill in what it would be like to approach God's dwelling place. What does that place look like? How does it make you feel? Without turning around, the embodiment that you have followed gestures for you to enter. So you cannot see this person's face. They're inviting you in. You approach slowly, slowly to the door. Does it feel warm and welcoming? Does it feel awe-inspiring? Does it feel like home? As you enter, you see that others are there. Who is it that you would like to visit with in God's dwelling place? Who do you imagine you would meet there? A seat is prepared for you amongst the people. You feel welcome to just sit down. And as you do so, take another deep breath in through your nose. Slowly, slowly out through your mouth. One more breath in through your nose, settling into this new space in your mind. So breathe out through your mouth. As you settle into this seat, in this divine habitation, what do you see happening? What's going on around you? How do you imagine the sacred space? To see others with you, you may wish to say something to them, greet them, ask questions. I invite you in your mind's eye to interact with your co-inhabitants of this sacred space. Still breathing naturally, allowing your chest to rise and fall. As you settle in, become comfortable with your companions, take a moment to look around once again. And with your critical mind, think, what does this space represent to me? What does my imagination wish me to recall as sacred? What messages are found in the imagery, my imagination? What values are behind this space, the appearance of this space as sacred? Another deep breath in through your nose, slowly out through your mouth. To reflect on the meaning behind your imagination's design of this divine dwelling place, let you take that next step. If these are the values that are implicit in your mind, if this is what a sacred space is, how have you lived the values embodied in this space? How has this year given you an opportunity or prevented you from living the values messaged by this space? So just allowing your chest to rise and fall naturally. If you're having trouble discerning what values the space represents, whether you've lived them or not, I invite you in your mind's eye, simply ask one of the companions in the space with you, what does this space mean? See what response comes. Ask, how can I live these values in the year to come? To sit with that information, take another deep breath, allowing it to sink in, allowing it to maintain full presence at the front of your mind. I invite you to once again look around this sacred space. Take it in. Notice that the companions around you are beginning to stand. You too, in your mind's eye, begin to stand. And as you do so, a glow enters the room. You can feel the presence of the divine heightening. The information you have retained so far about your core values and how to live them. I want you to ask the divine for whatever you need to more strongly live these values. What would ease your path towards attaining your goals? What would make you more able to live up to those aspirations? As you ask for that which you need, I invite you to invite in those people who have passed on from this world but are your ancestors to be with you in this sacred space, supporting you, discerning your highest goals. Those ancestors who are well or healthy in the place they have gone and ready to support you in your continued journey. As you feel them joining you in the habitation of the divine, what insights do they offer towards your attaining these goals embodied in this space, towards living out the values that your subconscious knows you hold most dear? How did these wonderful souls inform those close held values? I invite you to thank them for being present with you, for providing you with the foundation you build from. And also to consider how you can live out their values, which may be slightly different than your own, in your life, to bring them back to this world in that way. And as you do so, I invite you to follow the sacred thread that led to them having these values as well. going all the way back to the divine, which once again draws you in to the divine's habitation. Once more visiting with this sacred glow and your companions. Taking in this space one more time. Slowly the glow begins to fade. The space begins to darken. You find yourself back at the entrance of your home, having brought back with you the sacred mitzvot, opportunities to live up to your highest values, values of your ancestors, the values of the divine. Yehiyu v'ratzon imrei fi v'hekyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri Adonai tzuri v'goali v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. I invite you now to take another deep breath in through your nose, bringing yourself fully back to your body, feeling the air expand your chest. You're rolling your shoulders a little bit, moving your head around a little bit, very, very gently, very slowly, and remembering what it is you're bringing forward, what values you wish to enact, which ways you wish to enact them. So, Harayim Tovim, good afternoon.